This is Rise. Let's lock in with the goal of changing one life at a time. Yours. Together, let us rise up, inspire, strengthen, and elevate our minds. It's time to rise on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello, my name is Dr. Saran Heron, and welcome to Rise. Today we're going to talk about becoming a teacher. If you are in training to become a teacher and struggling with the course in college and becoming discouraged, stay encouraged, and with the right help, you can rise and succeed. My guest today is Ms. Veda Rodney, a retired teacher, obtained her certification in education from Michael Teachers College in Kingston, Jamaica, West Indies, who truly enjoyed being a teacher and knew from early on she wanted to be a teacher. She is currently reconsidering going back into teaching due to how much she loves her profession. She is here to tell us about teaching, share her challenges, and how she ensured her students were successful while being a mentor to them. Ms. Veda Rodney, welcome to Rise here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Heron. I am pleased to be on the show.
Enlighten us about your journey to becoming a teacher.
Well, my aspirations to becoming a teacher started at a very early age in the hills of St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, West Indies. I was always inclined to be teaching, like the plants, seeing there was no one of my age group around to play with. This was my regular pastime.
Explain your college degree that you hold and how such a degree qualified you to teach all ages.
Of course, the certificate degree I earned from Michael Teachers College in Kingston, Jamaica, West Indies, was recently upgraded to a bachelor's degree, is a compacted degree that qualifies me to teach children ages 3 to 15 years, from preschool to 11th grade. The courses are arranged and presented in such a manner that they speak to a preschooler as well as preteens and teenagers.
Tell us about your experiences while in college training to be a teacher.
To say that I was excited would be an understatement, because I was finally doing exactly what I knew in my heart I was destined to do. My grades were very good in college. My artwork was displayed. My essays was read to the class. These were certainly motivating factors in my college experience.
Share with us your hardest courses and how did you encourage yourself at that time?
Well, my hardest course was physics and chemistry. I made the grade though. I made the grade through hard work and determination and a professor that was very encouraging.
Your first day as a teacher, tell us about that feeling. Did you know then you had picked the right profession?
But my first day as a teacher was in a very remote part of St. Catherine in Jamaica, West Indies. The school was called Paul Mountain. There was no regular taxi route. I had to do a lot of walking to get there. When I get there, I was smaller in stature than most of the students in the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade that I was assigned to. But after the first day of school, I was the happiest person in the world. There was just a feeling of family among the students and staff alike.
What advice could you provide to a student as it pertains to teaching and ensuring they are successful?
I would tell a student, be sure this is the profession you want to be in, and then focus on achieving your goal. I gave this advice to a family member who is now a teacher.
What was most rewarding for you as a teacher?
Oh, yes, this is very rewarding for me when I would walk in a hospital and the doctor was my past student. When I walk in a bank and the teller was my past student. When I'm walking down the street and a soldier would call out to me, that was my past student. All of this I have experienced. It made me very proud to be a part of their lives.
How did you connect with your students?
Most importantly, I would listen to what they are saying. Sometimes, your ear is the only one they got. I have had students wanting to discuss something personal. And then I would ask them about their mother. And I was told that the mother don't have any time for them. And also, they would not listen to them anyway.
Any example of how you went above and beyond for a student to ensure they succeeded?
Yes, I remember students were brought to me, like 3 to 6 years, as a last resort. They could not read, they could not write. And I would place them on my lap to help them along. Once they get comfortable, the result was phenomenal. At the end of the school year, they would be reading and they would be writing. And their parents would come in very pleased and to thank me personally.
Share with us a typical day in the classroom.
Yes, a typical day starts with prayer. This is common in most Caribbean schools. We would continue with math, then English. We always have a daily writing class. That was very important. Then after lunch, we would do the timetables and music just to mellow out. Then a quiz to review what was taught was always done, to measure what they remembered of the lessons.
How do you prepare for each day as well as each week?
Well, from the syllabus given to us by the principal, a daily lesson plan for our lessons had to be presented at the start of each new week. So plans for daily lessons must be prepared. No teacher can come to a classroom without a lesson plan. This was unheard of.
What discipline and mindset do you believe is necessary to be an effective teacher?
I love a disciplined classroom. So I maintain a warm and welcoming personality that encourages them to bring their conflicts to me. The harshest of discipline for me is having them stand facing a wall. No student likes to do that. So I didn't have much of a problem in this area.
What are some interventions as a teacher that you quickly identify as indicators that a student may not be successful in passing your course?
A student may not be grasping a math concept. So I would quickly try another method by revisiting some teaching strategy that works in the past. And this usually helps them to succeed.
You are listening to Rise on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Saran Heron, and today we're talking to Ms. Veda Rodney, a retired teacher, obtained her certification in education from Michael Teachers College in Kingston, Jamaica, West Indies, who truly enjoyed being a teacher and knew from her early on she wanted to be a teacher. She is currently reconsidering going back into teaching due to how much she loves her profession. What resources can a teacher provide?
The best resource for the teacher is to be available to the student at all times. Listen to what they are saying. Help them to arrive at a solution through discussions.
How did you motivate your students?
I do this by giving incentives like stars or pens, candies or pencils. And for the older kids, a dollar bill, which is permitted in the Caribbean. This always brought about good results.
Any specific qualities that you think are important for a teacher or a professor to have?
Oh, yes. My top priority for a teacher to have is a sack full of patience and understanding.
Tell us about the first time you had to fail a student for any of your courses.
This was seldom done, but was always very hard to do when you realize that the student did the very best they could.
Any words of wisdom for college students who may be feeling discouraged because they failed a course?
I would just tell them that if at first you don't succeed, you should try again. Never, ever give up. Continue to do it until you succeed, because everyone visits this place sometime or the other. You are not alone.
Any role model from your college experience that shaped the teacher you became?
Yes, my English teacher, Miss Clark, she would read my essays to the class, telling them to listen to the expressions in the essay, and that they themselves could do it just as well as I did. It was a source of motivation and much encouragement for me.
So, what's your favorite part of being a teacher?
My favorite part of being a teacher is always trying to help my students to grasp the concept of what I'm teaching and help them to understand what I'm saying. And actually, when I see the light, the light in their eyes, I realize, yes, they are getting what I'm saying. That just gives me a thrill to know that I'm passing something on to them that will better their lives, and they're getting it. They're understanding what I'm saying to them in the moment.
How did your students receive feedback from you as it pertains to grading? How would you do your grading, and how would you explain to them, the grade that they received and whether it was good or bad?
Much of my students, they were pretty average and students who would work very well. So the grading was really favorable to most of them. But for the ones that sometimes they do struggle, it's hard for them to receive a failing grade when you give it to them. But then I would take that one by the side and I would encourage them and, just tell them, if you want me to help you, I'm available at such and such a time. You can come to me and then I will help you to give you some extra help then, so that you will be able to measure the other students. So that's what I would do most of the time with those who are not, catching on quick enough like the others. I would take them, timely and just help them along to get the concept of a math concept or, way of expressing themselves if they're writing, how to describe certain things, how to, to express themselves, and that normally helps them, that normally helps their grade to improve most of the time.
Earlier, you mentioned about being a teacher and your typical day and teaching. Tell us more about your day when you taught your subject. Was it just math that you taught? Was it a mixture of subjects that you taught in the Caribbean?
Oh, no, it's a mixture of subjects during the day because it's such a localized degree, you're able to go across the syllabus during the day. You probably have a spelling competition. Sometimes you have art going on. Sometimes even a baking part of that. You have a time, 1 hour or two, where you go bake, where you do practical things. You do sewing, and there's always something that you step out, And sometimes we are outside in the schoolyard. We would walk sometimes on nature walk, where you collect things. Like I'm doing science, we would walk out, collect the things, and then we'll come back in and we'll write about what we have found and, make a collage sometimes. Very exciting when we would leave the classroom and go out on the field to do field work. They love field walks when we have them. So, typical day is a variety of things. Some of them love the competition when they are competing against each other to be the first. They really get into that. The ones who can, I can spell more than you, whatever they are doing, they always want to excel above the other. So there was a sense of competition among them, rivalry, but not angry rivalry, just friendly rivalry among the children in the classroom.
Amazing.
Yeah.
As teachers, I'm just curious, how do you support each other in school?
Oh, yes. Sometimes, you'll have a teacher come and they would tell you something that is, that is going on, and something that they don't have a handle, and something that is happening. Maybe with a student, they don't know how to handle it. And then I'll probably have a better perspective on how to deal with that student. I would sometimes say, just be a friend. Maybe that student is angry because they need a friend. Just be a friend to that student. Most of the time, that is what the student wants. So we'll talk to each other, boost each other. Sometimes the teacher would come, they're low down, their morale not so good. But we will talk to each other, encourage one another. Whatever the problem or the situation is with them, we would talk. We had a very good relationship as staff members, and we allow ourselves to be able to talk with one another, help one another, because we are in the game together. We want the same thing for the students and for ourselves too. We are there for our children to achieve what they set out to achieve, and we want them to succeed. That is it. That's a high point of our teaching career, for our students to succeed. And if we have happy staff who are right there for the students, then we're going to have great results from our children.
Any favorite subject you enjoy teaching?
English, of course. For being an avid reader, this factors in my love of the subject.
Do you want to share a memory that you recall that helped you along your journey, or a saying that kept you focused?
Oh, yes. I remember when I was signing up to do my exams, the principal asked me what I wanted to become. I told him a teacher. He laughed at me and said, and I quote, "Ha ha, you must be able to teach frog to jump," implying that I could not do that. I view that statement as very derogatory. And that really motivated me to prove him wrong. And I did. I even went on to attend the same teachers' college he did, Michael Teachers College.
What's your least favorite subject to teach and why?
Physics and chemistry. I never ever developed a real love for these subjects as they were introduced to me at a very late stage.
Any best advice you were given while being a teacher?
They said, whatever your hands find to do, you should do it with all your might. Not halfway, not part way, full way, and with all your might.
How can someone listening connect with you on the program?
Yes, they can do that through email at vedarod100@gmail.com.
Share with us anything you're doing in your community that you do to help, whether teach or help any students in your current community.
Yes, in my community here, the children that are on my block, they would come around and we would talk. I'd ask them, about school, and they would tell me how school is going. And I would if I get stuff, like food stuff or whatever, I would share with them. I would really share with the people and the children in the community. And at church, we have children there that we interact with. And that's basically it,
What's one advice you want to leave with us today?
Just be positive. We're in a world now where things are very, very hard. In most cases, you go out, things are difficult to achieve, difficulty to get from one place to the other. But always keep a positive attitude. Always trust that this can be done. I can do this. I can do this. And whenever you set your heart to do something, you can do it. You can do it. Just have that mindset. Be an optimist all the time. Doesn't matter what is facing you or how the thing looks. You be optimistic about everything with a positive attitude. You will succeed in whatever you set your mind and your heart to do.
You are listening to Rise on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Saran Heron, and today we're talking to Ms. Veda Rodney, a retired teacher, obtained her certification in education from Michael Teachers College in Kingston, Jamaica, West Indies, who truly enjoyed being a teacher and knew from early on she wanted to be a teacher. She is currently reconsidering going back into teaching due to how much she loves the profession. Thank you for being here, Veda Rodney. It was a pleasure talking to you. And we just want to have a warm welcome to International Prayer Institute Evangelist Camille James. I know you're listening in on today's program. Can you offer some encouragement to college students that may be listening in?
Thank you for having me on the program, Dr. Heron. To our listening audience, I would just like to encourage you to become who you are called to be. It may be a teacher, as we have just heard from Ms. Veda Rodney, or a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist, a nurse. Whatever career you have set in your life, you can become. The word becomes mean to come into existence. So your beginning may be from a family struggling to make ends meet on a daily basis. Even though you are at this point in life, never give up. You may ask why. Why shouldn't I give up? You are created to exist, to grow, to rise, to triumph, to win, to be the victor and not a victim. You may ask yourself again, how can I achieve this with all that's going on in my life? You can speak over yourself. I am the head and I'm not the tail. I am above and I am not beneath. I am going over and I am not going under. I am blessed in my going in and in my coming out. I can do all things. I can rise above it all, standing tall to become. Blessings always.
We appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us, and all the best, and we're so glad you were able to rise above. Thank you, Evangelist Camille James. We all may encounter some bumps as we journey to obtain our degree in college. It is important to stay encouraged and remember you can do it. Stay motivated. I'm Dr. Saran Heron, and I thank you for listening to this week's episode of Rise here on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC.